I wish. I wish, said Little Brooms, I was someone else. The night was dark, and only the moon was shining through the window. Next to the bed sat a cuddly little stuffed rabbit. With long ears and striped pajamas, Little Brooms couldn't fall asleep, and he was scared, all alone in the big room. I wish I was strong like a lion, whispered Little Brooms to that only Rabbit could hear them, so I wouldn't have to be afraid of anyone or anything in the world. When Brooms woke up the next day, Rabbit was still sitting next to the bed, but something felt different. Brooms get out of bed, put on his shoes, and went to leave his room. But as soon as he touched the door, it burst wide open. And when he picked up his backpack, filled with a heavy box, it felt like there was only a light feather on his shoulder. Brooms couldn't believe it. His wish had come true. He ran to school so that he could show all his friends. But when he went to get his box from behind, he pushed his chair over. The chair made an ugly cracking sound and split into 100 little pieces. The other children laughed, looked at clumsy little Brooms. Brooms felt his face getting hot and he stomped his feet in anger. When he stomped, the whole ground started shaking, and all the children ran away in fear. Brooms went home, feeling sad. He regretted his wish. That night he looked at the moon shining through the window. I wish I could fly like a bird, Brooms said to Rabbit, so I could fly to the moon, and no one would make fun of me. Brooms wished he could talk to someone because he felt so small and the world seemed so big. He started feeling cold and lonely, and so he decided to come back home, flying through the blue curtains of his window. Tired from the day, he lay down on his soft bed and hugged Rabbit tightly. I wish I could have everything I wanted, he told Rabbit after a while, so I would never be cold or lonely or afraid. The next day, Brooms at first didn't see anything extraordinary. He noticed that it was raining outside, so he thought to himself, I wish I had a pair of warm shoes. And whoosh, new rain boots appeared on his feet. Brooms laughed with excitement. I wish I had a table full of ice cream, Brooms thought, and whoosh! A table bursting with ice cream was standing in the middle of the room. Mango, pineapple, chocolate, all the flavors Brooms loved. He could not stop himself and kept eating until he felt so full that he could barely move. Groaning and sweating, he walked to school. This time, he promised himself, I am only going to wish for things I really need. So when the teacher told the class to take a test, he closed his eyes, and the answer magically appeared on the paper. But after a few minutes, Brooms became bored and wished he had finished the test on his own. When the bell rang, the children went out and started playing. I wish I had something to play with, he thought to himself, and sure enough, there was a beautiful round ball in the color of the rainbow in his hands. Look what I found, Brooms told his friend, but they became jealous. We don't want to play with such a weird ball anyway, they said. On his way home, Brooms saw an old lady with a wrinkled face slowly crossing the street. I wish I could help that woman, Brooms thought to himself, but he didn't know what to wish for, so he let go of his ball and went up to the woman. He offered her his hand, and together they crossed the street, and then he saw the most beautiful thing. more beautiful than all the seas and the mountains and the deserts and waterfalls in the world. The old woman smiled at him. That night, Broom stayed awake for a long time thinking, and then suddenly he smiled and said, "I wish I could be myself." And this time he could have sworn the cuddly rabbit with the long ears smiled back. When Brooms woke up the next morning, everything was like it had always been. The clock was still on the shelf, and the new shoes were gone. He had to open the door like a normal person and go to the store if he wanted to get ice cream. But as he left his room, something magical happened. His mouth twitched upwards and his eyes started twinkling with joy. Brooms was smiling. When he walked by the people in the street, the construction workers, the market seller, and old woman on the sidewalk, they turned around and looked at him, and one by one they started smiling too. And when he came to school, the children were talking to each other in hushed voices. "Look," they said, "here comes the boy who can smile." And they surrounded him, and together they talked and played and laughed. Brooms couldn't fly to all the wonderful and the beautiful places in the world every day, but he could see all the beauty of the world in the everyday places, and inside, Brooms felt like he was flying without ever leaving the ground. The end.